A foul storm hampered the company's travel as they made their way northward. Upon entering into the hills of Evendom, they sought shelter at a small cottage. Here they met Aranel, a woman of rangers, currently with child. The lady reluctantly provided the company shelter and bid them go north to find her husband Banion, who had been missing for nigh on a week. The company tracked Banion to the ruins of a small village where they did battle with a pair of hungry trolls. Having vested them and brought Banion back from near death, the company now returns to Aranel.
When last we left our company, they were in search of a ranger of the north named Banion, as they had encountered his wife, who was stuck in her house, very, very pregnant, and she had requested that they seek him out should they venture that way in their travels. Well, the company did find him, and he was in none other than a troll's den. A short battle later, the company, you all did vanquish the trolls, and you rescued Banion, and you stand here in the remains of an old villa as Banion rests atop a horse, and you all prepare to make your next steps. So, at this point, it is probably, yes, it's probably about midday. You guess that you could probably make it back if you were to march into the night.
I would say it's not a bad idea to get him to safety as soon as possible, even if it does tire us a bit.
I don't disagree, and he's going to be on horseback, so it doesn't really matter.
And you see very quickly, as you all are kind of talking about this, he almost immediately just falls asleep on top of the horse, sitting up.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I see no objections from our guest.
I'm sure he'd rather be at home.
Yes.
As you all make your way along the hills of Evendom, you make your way up atop a hill and then back down into the valley and then up again. And ever present is the lake off to your left. Water's just as still as ever, reflecting the clouds above. And eventually night does come, and you can see almost a perfect mirror of the night sky. Until eventually, you do make your way in the wee hours of the morning to the cabin, and you open the door. And there you find Auden kneeling over on the floor. It looks as though she's cleaning something up. And she looks up at you and says, "Oh, you've returned. Did you find Banion?"
Yes.
Yes.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Where is he?
He's on the horse. Larry will bring him.
Yes.
And you see she rushes past you out the door and rushes to his side. And you see she grabs his hand and clutches it tightly. She says, "Banion! Banion!" To which he kind of flutters his eyes open. Auden. And he kind of like almost falls off of the horse, to which she kind of like tries to hold him up, and she grunts a little bit under his weight. No, you must be careful.
Don't worry, I have him.
All right, you all help him down off of his horse, or off of your horse rather.
Mm-hmm.
And you make your way inside, and Auden says, please, over here. And she gestures towards the bed. And you lay him down, and he winces as he lays down. And at that, Auden says, "Banion, do you need anything? Please, tell me what I can do." He says, "No, Auden, please." And you see he kind of rolls over on his side and reaches under the bed and grabs something. And you look and you see that he pulls out an old leather pouch. And he says, he kind of like tosses it over on a nearby table from where he lays. He says, "Please, I want you to have that."
Not the treasure that she hid already. No, I'm kidding.
No. Please, it is the least that I can do. It is a family heirloom, but it seems as though it'll do you more good than it does me.
Thrush is still just sitting outside having a pipe, so he's partaking in none of that right now. So,
I mean, Larry will be polite and look at it to see what it is, but
Okay.
it seems far too valuable to probably not take it.
You kind of open the pouch and you look inside, and inside you can see a couple of silver pennies, but within you also see what looks to be a silver band, a ring.
All right.
And you pull it out, and in the firelight you can see it looks as though it's got a white stone set into it. But strangely enough, this white stone seems to almost absorb light. The area around the ring is, to your perception, almost seems dark.
All right. Larry will at least kind of put it in his palm and be like, what exactly is it?
It is called the Ring of the Dwindling Sun. It is said that those who wield it, well, they become one with the shadow.
I see. Are you sure?
Please, I am in no state to use it. I'm sure you've done more than enough.
I will take the heirloom, but please keep the coin for yourself. You have a child on the way.
Indeed. And with that, you take the ring, and I will go ahead, since you have it. Feel free to do what you want with it, but I will slide it over onto your sheet.
Aranel's gonna stow away another treasure because she's just like,
Oh,
dang
yeah.
it.
Stealth bonus? You know what? Yeah. I mean, I know Aranel's the resident stealthy, but I'm okay at it, so I think I'll hold on to it.
Okay.
I was gonna put it on.
And as you do, you feel the light around you almost begin to shrink. The shadow that you cast seems a little bit longer, but it's not in a foreboding way.
Right. I appreciate it.
With that, he nods and he kind of leans back again.
Puts
his head on the pillow.
Miragar, are you outside smoking with Thrush, or are you inside?
He's probably inside, helping the bed get comfortable and setting it up.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask him.
Heal.
All right. Yeah. So you're already taken care of. Good. Well, is there anything we can do for you?
No, it's... you've done quite enough. Thank you. And you see that, Auden kind of, laboriously stands up out of a chair and goes over and nods to each one of you. And says, please, if need be, you may stay here as long as you'd like. You've more than earned your keep.
Perhaps we could spend a night to rest.
I can keep an eye on Onion for another evening. Make sure nothing happens through the night.
Larry probably kind of stick out his head just to let Thrush know, they've offered their hospitality yet again. We're going to spend at least another night to recover before we continue on our way.
Did we find out how far along she is?
With a healing roll, you could probably surmise.
He's going to think back, because he's not going to bother sticking his head back in there. He's trying to just figure out if it's,
Yeah, Larry's not sure. Miragar might know.
Yeah, I'll roll.
Oh, he succeeded. Okay.
Oh, I'm supposed to have an extra die because I have something to help with healing this. So I'll roll 1d. Yes. Just to see.
Hey, look at that.
Well, that would be enough to hit 16.
Okay. Was anybody else wanting to roll that?
This is probably a conversation Thrush and I are having outside. I don't know if anyone followed us.
I could. It's not a
I think
great
Mary focused on it.
roll.
So
Yeah, 'cause I mean, the reason he's asking is he's trying to figure out how long we should stay here. If it's like
If it's-
days, then
If,
maybe
yeah,
keeping
if she's
our
about
gaze
to
down.
pop, if she's about, like Thrush and Larry are probably having a discussion. Like, if she's about to pop, we'll probably, stay a few days.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she can't tell.
Aranel is not.
So,
She doesn't know her human anatomy.
okay. So, Larry and
Any year now.
Rush. Yeah, both of you can actually tell that she could be due any day.
Perhaps we stay around for a couple of days, if no other reason than to ease her burden while he's laid up, but she's so near.
I agree. And we'll give you time to recover as well.
Well, the letter can wait a bit, I think.
Yes, of course, but yeah, if you can do two things at once, why not?
We may need to go hunting tomorrow then.
Yes.
Fair enough.
And he's also gonna throw in like, well, he gave me this, and he's just gonna show his hand with the ring.
Pretty trinket.
Yes, apparently it helps one blend in with the shadows to sneak better, as it were.
Well, we could use that. None of us besides Aranel are all that good at it.
Yes.
Though sometimes I do lose track of Miragar in the middle of combat. Usually he's between my legs, though.
Yes.
Or at least the time pad
Playing
is.
against the pan usually tells you where he is.
Yes.
I will leave you to your thoughts, Thrush. Yeah, Larry will probably go to Miragar and Aranel and kind of subtly saying like, Thrush and I think she's due any day now. Probably stick around just to see. At least the time it takes Thrush to recover, to see if we can help her if she goes into labor.
Agreed.
okay.
Aranel's just gonna try to coax her to sit down and clean up whatever she was doing before, when we walked in. It's like, you rest.
It is the wee hours of the morning. Is anybody planning on doing anything before you kind of drift off to sleep? Except for Aranel, because you don't sleep.
I don't know.
It's just gonna be hanging out and cleaning things and reading and writing and whatever.
It's finding a book on human pregnancies so she can now learn how far along is this woman actually. It's like, it could be a century before she gives birth. I don't know.
All right.
But if we are allowed to take a prolonged rest, I will gladly do so.
I would like to hope if I can.
I would like to hope as well.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Yeah, I think I'll just do one as well.
All right.
I don't remember if you have to manually take the day off from your wound or not.
Yeah, I think you do.
I do.
Okay.
Not only am I hurt, I have to do math.
What is that -1 again?
He just makes a bunch of marks in the ground and puts a line through and makes another, and then he says, "Wait, how do I get rid of one?"
I just made another line.
Math. Raging.
It's like, here, Thrush, an abacus.
All right. Now,
Have we reached a point where we can remove any fatigue or no?
not just yet. You are still in the middle of your journey.
Okay, I figured.
However, as you all take rest, you are awoken early in the morning. It sounds like groans coming from the other side of the cottage.
Immediately,
She's
You can
gonna
see
pop.
that
I'm immediately gonna grab Miragar And if he's not moving fast enough, I'll pick him up. I don't care. Be like, we've got work to do.
Whoop.
All right.
I'll get
So
some water.
you can clearly tell that this baby is on the way, and it is coming now. So this is going to be what's considered a skill endeavor.
All right. Oh, God.
Since Banian is lame, I will pace for him.
And you can see
Larry will offer a hand that gets, completely bruised by the woman who's in immeasurable pain.
So, this is a skill endeavor. Now, I don't need any specific rolls. All I ask is that you choose a roll and make an argument for it, and I'll tell you whether or not that's feasible.
All right, Larry
So,
is going to
you can
start with
see-
Enhearten.
Yeah, you can see that she is almost crippled with pain, and you see Banian kind of he rolls over and leans over her and tries to cradle her face with his hands. He says, "It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Bayron will be here shortly." All right, so you are going to try to do an Enhearten roll to keep her spirits up.
Yes.
All
I'll
right.
probably be like, you're about to find out whether or not you're going to have a beautiful baby, boy or girl. I'm sure you're very excited.
All right, go ahead and give me an Enhearten roll.
Good thing that I am favored, so screw you, Sauron.
So
Great success.
And I have a success die as well.
all right, that's 2 successes. Very good.
All right.
See that as this is happening, you see she is pushing as hard as she possibly can. You can see tears begin streaming down her face, as you would guess that anything within a mile radius could hear her screams. I need another skill roll from somebody.
I think Miragar kind of steps up and will use healing for this and sort of play doctor. Kind of maybe grab a tonic or put something together real quickly to kind of ease her pain a little bit. And then, with maybe having not necessarily birthed other humanoids, but he did grow up on a farm. So there is experience in that realm a little bit. He, gets her in the correct position and kind of says, okay, and has her husband hold her back and things like that. He sets her up for as easy as possible.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and give me a healing roll.
Mostly just cute.
Let's go.
All right.
Nice. All right. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. So as you kind of brew this tonic, and you see that as you kind of you try to hand it over to her, she shoves Banian off of her, and she grips the sides of the bed as hard as she can. You can see that the whites, her knuckles have turned just bone white, and you kind of drizzle this tonic into her mouth, and she gulps it down. And with one final push, you're able to birth this beautiful baby boy. And you give it a quick swat on the rear end, and it seems healthy.
And I will hand the baby over to the mother.
Now, Larry will probably have already gotten a cloth that swaddle the baby in.
And I didn't get to do the thing I was going to do with Thrush because he was going to use his awe to basically remind her whose line she came from. And just tell her that she's stronger than this and
You are a ranger.
Exactly.
You are a ranger. You've suffered worse.
Didn't have to say a thing. She did it.
Aranel was gonna
Okay.
start singing, but
All right, and you
For a
hand
second,
the
I thought
baby.
Moss was going to let us just keep going because we had 2 extra attempts just to style on the test, but no.
Yeah, the thing automatically closes, but swaddled in cloth, very closely. You see tears running down her face, sweat pouring out of her pores, and you see Banian also with a single tear coming down his face. He kisses her once and caresses the baby as it kind of drifts off to sleep. Is there anything, you said you want to stylize it a little bit. Is there anything else that you might do?
I was just gonna have Aranel start singing to soothe the atmosphere a little bit.
Yeah, and that's all that Thrush is going to be doing in the background is just reciting the same thing that he recites very often.
Oh.
Elendil's Oath.
It's a good thing we didn't need it.
With that, you're
starts crying.
you're kind of holding back an ugly cry, as this is not something you've seen before. But it's a beautiful process. And you kind of choke through some of the words. You're not able to get all of the words to your song out, but you can see that both Banyan and Auden appreciate what you're trying to do. And with that, all of you regain 1 hope.
Awesome.
Nice.
Excellent. And Thrush will excuse himself because this is all emotional.
We all might cry with Thrush.
Miragar will probably
don't.
look at Thrush or maybe even Aranel and be like, well, if you two, I would think we're probably going to stay for another day or two. Just to
I'm
help.
going hunting.
That was going to be my suggestion.
He's just like, smoky in here.
All right. So, who all's going hunting?
I think
Nope,
Aranel.
I'm not aware of the fact that Thrush is crying.
Okay. You think
All right,
Aranel-
nobody is. Yeah, there you go.
And who else you say is going hunting?
Thrush is going to.
I feel
will.
like Aranel will, because she has a fancy bow that's good for it, right?
It's true.
Yes, and I've got some blips
Okay.
from a
Very
certain
good.
brooch.
The
So,
3 boys will guard the home, since apparently your pain was heard from miles away.
all right. So, Aranel and Thrush, you both set out into the hills of Evendim. And as Miragar and Larry kind of linger around the house, fetching whatever the two of them might need, you hear them kind of going back and forth in a discussion. Basically, Banyan saying that we need to get away from the wilds. We have a child now. We must go to Bree or something. We must get away from the wilds. And she says, we cannot abandon the wilds. Not while there's no one here to man the post. We must stay.
Miragar will kind of, as he's probably cleaning up and, checking, making sure everybody's okay, we'll look and be like, I don't think either way you want to go is wrong, but I don't think this is a good time for that discussion.
Yes.
You're both injured. You have a newborn. Maybe wait a few days, a few weeks, maybe. And we have business with the dwarves. If you would like, we can always make sure that they stop by, one of them, to bring you supplies or whatnot. But I think that resting, it's as much as the wilds are dangerous, I don't think it's anything that either of you can't overcome. But
if you do
you
decide
should stay here.
Yes. If you do decide that you'd like to go to Bree, well, that's where Miragar and I are from, and we can gladly escort you if that ends up being your decision. But that should be something you think about another day.
And with that, you see Banyan looks over at Auden and says, they're right. And Auden kind of looks over at him and says, you know as well as I do that our kind are not trusted in Bree. There is no refuge for us there. But it's true, we should at least rest on it. We can't go anywhere, at least not while you're laid up.
Well, if it's any consolation, our friend Thrush has definitely made a positive impression with the leader of Bree after a task we performed, so arrangements could probably be made.
With that, they both kind of give you a nod, and you see the baby is just asleep on her chest at this point, and it stirs just a little bit. She's like, shh, 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 and kind of caresses a little bit, and she says, I think we need some quiet time.
Yes. There we go. Why don't you and I, we'll step out of the home for maybe a few hours.
All right. And with that, we'll phase on over to Aranel and Thrush. You wander about the hills of Evendim, through the woods, atop the
Aranel
hills.
hunts so well she gets a second archer bow just from the sky.
Yeah, exactly. So, are you both hunting together, or did you kind of just like split up to see if you can find more game?
I think it makes sense to split up only because she is so much more stealthy than Thrush that he has more of a chance of catching something unaware just on a path, and she could probably sneak closer to it, and he won't interfere with her hunting ability. So we'll just meet back here at midday or something like that, probably at this river or whatever's nearby.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I would have both of you give me a hunting roll.
And just for funsies. Didn't even need the bonus die, but that's fine.
Evidently, I've killed
Got
the
double Gandalf?
forest
Look at you.
lord or something. I have no idea, but yeah.
Incredible. All right, so
Nobody's
both
gonna
kinda-
believe this.
you both kind of split up around this one particular hill. You make your way deeper into the forests around the hills of Evendim. Aranel, you come across some tracks which look to be possibly split-hooved and of a short gait. And Thrush, as you wander about, you too come across some hoof tracks. From your success, you would guess that this is probably quite a large deer.
Keep following it.
Okay. And I would have you both give me a stealth roll, if you would. Okay.
Look at you.
Life. It's amazing.
Very
You see
nice.
one baby getting born.
He's like, I want to protect this child with my life now too.
So, Aranel, as you follow these tracks, you hunker down once you find them, and you trudge your way through the underbrush of the forest. And you can see what looks to be is it a herd? I don't know if it's a herd. Wild boar. Kind of perusing about the forest floor. You can see probably 3 or 4 of them. A couple of piglets. But you do see a very large male.
Alright, I'll take aim.
All right, go for it.
So apparently, a group of wild boars is called a sounder.
Gandalf.
Yonder, yeah, I used that in my story.
A sounder?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
I have to use my bow.
You use the same word for
Yeah.
everything. Stupid. A school, a sounder, a flock, a herd.
An exaltation of larks, you know.
Exaltation, a murder of crows.
Yeah.
A clouder of cats.
All right. So, you loose an arrow. You fire at you loose the arrow at the large male.
Yep.
All right, and immediately it finds purchase just behind the shoulder. You hear it almost as if you pierced the lung and went straight into the heart. It falls flat, taking only 2 or 3 steps forward. You see the other pigs scatter, but you do have a quite large boar ready to go.
Alright, she's going to basically just do what she did with that deer outside of Bree and just fashion a little. I don't know what to call it, like a sled, yeah. Since she's the only one there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take your rope and kind of sling it over your shoulder and just kind of
Yep.
pull it behind you.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Now, Thrush, as you kind of make your way through the forest here, you follow these what seem to be large deer prints, and you come to what looks to be a glade. And there you see a couple of does, a couple of fawns, and just beyond, just before it enters the tree line, you see a great white stag.
That is quite a sight. Now, would he have any feelings or superstitions about felling such a thing?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a probably a lore roll.
Nope.
Lore. Okay. Okay.
I failed.
Okay.
Nah, I'ma kill it.
All right. So, you may remember a few things about people saying, you know, not to fell a white stag, but you don't know of any actual like legends or lore behind it. You don't know if there's any truth to it or if it's just a wives' tale superstition.
He thinks it's probably a sign of what, you know, this child was born under this sign, so he is going to attempt to fell it.
Okay. All right. You succeeded on your previous stealth roll. Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
And if I use a hope point on it, it's not automatically inspired, but I can use a hope point on it, right?
Correct.
Or okay.
Mhm.
Fucking Gandalf.
And a success,
Way
right?
to go.
Wow. Okay. So you loose an arrow at this white stag, meeting it just behind the shoulder. Again, it leaps up and kicks behind it and takes a few steps into the forest to where you can no longer see it. But you hear a soft thud in the leaves.
He is going to just say a quick prayer, and again, you know, some of the songs that are always going through his head are just playing through, and he's muttering the words as he's heading across the glade, muttering the right now it's just the song of Baron and Luthien, like he usually has in his head. It's almost like he can't stop reciting it all the time.
Okay. All right. So, you both take your game and you meet up at midday. And there you see Aranel has a very large wild boar. And Aranel, you see that Thrush drags behind him a great white stag.
So unsure if felling this would be viewed with displeasure or not, but it felt right.
I'll roll a lore and see if she knows anything.
So you quickly have to resuscitate it.
Yeah, you know that it is an ill omen to kill a fell stag. Or a white stag.
Well, ill omen, but
If I were concerned about such things, I wouldn't be on the road constantly, doing all the things that everyone else frowns on.
fair enough.
If some misfortune's going to fall on someone's head, it might as well be mine.
Stubborn man. Let's get back.
We'll eat well.
As you guys kind of talk on your way back, Aranel, you notice that his words seem to be a little bit more dour, even more so than usual. There's this air of kind of negativity about Thrush at the moment. It's hard to explain, but as a result of you felling this white stag, you are cursed with a curse of ill omen. The bearer of this curse, their arrival is preceded by dark warnings and fell omens, filling the hearts of former allies with dread and fear. This causes all rolls made by the bearer during a council to lose 1 success die.
Good thing we're not in a council.
Time for a council. Okay. Yeah, he's trying to be, he's being stubborn about it, but there's something in the back of his mind. He's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Just kind of repress it a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Is this
Would I
permanent?
know if there's a way to reverse the curse?
Yeah, is this permanent?
It may be. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and give me a lore roll.
If it makes you feel better, she is going to be using a hope on it. So
Oh, wow.
Gandalf.
Gandalf, 2
I mean,
sixes.
Gandalf led me to the deer, so I don't know.
2 sixes.
All right.
Gandalf
So
just shows up and he's like, "Oh, sorry about that." Wipes the curse
Yeah.
off from you.
you are aware that it is said that a curse is laid upon those who fell a white stag, and as you know, most curses can be lifted. And you got 2 success dice. Of course, you would get 2 success dice.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, you would probably know. You would probably know methods by which to relieve one of such a curse. But I don't, so I will get back to you on that.
Nice.
So Moss has homework.
Yep. All right, but you all make your way back to the cottage with your game in tow. Larry and Miragar, you kind of stand about outside of the cottage, giving them some peace and quiet, as you see these two roll up with their fresh kills.
Now it's time for Larry and Miragar to now see if they know if this is an ill omen.
Yeah, what do we roll on
No.
that?
Aranel would definitely
Probably.
share.
I mean, I still feel like we'd probably look at it, and if we knew anything, we'd be like, "Oh no, oh no, no, no."
Oh no! Yeah, if you want to give me a lore roll, you can.
This is more for less mechanical, more role playing.
Fair.
But Larry doesn't know anything. But
yeah.
Miragar does.
Miragar knows that there is something special about this stag. None of you have probably ever seen one of those before, and whenever this is around, it may be a sign. Larry, it's a deer.
It's a fancy deer.
Yeah, it's just got scared white.
The problem with Larry is saying, like, "Now, Thrush, did you intimidate this deer that badly?"
It's just an animal. It doesn't matter what color its coat is.
I mean,
I don't know much about them, but I know the white stags are rare, and I know they're special. But I mean, is that because they're just rare, or what? It's hard to say. I feel like anymore after everything we've been through, if superstitions we've heard hold truth anymore.
You need meat. It's made of meat. And he's going to start dressing it out. Just very grumpily, like, leave me alone. Stop bothering me with this stupidity. He's getting a little annoyed. And he's going to dress the thing out. Not talk to anybody. Little gray storm cloud over his head right now.
Well, between the stag and the boar, I think we'll leave them with plenty of meat for a while.
Indeed.
Maybe I'll go out and forage for a bit. They are having some time with themselves and the baby.
Yes.
So I think maybe we should all find things to do for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, dress the deer out, scrape the skin down, I guess.
And these two will be preparing the hunts. So let's try to be as quiet about it as you can for the sake of the child.
Start singing at the top of his lungs, Tom Bombadillo. Okay, he wouldn't do that.
Okay. So, while Aranel and Thrush are dressing their game, what are Miragar and Larry doing?
I mean, if Miragar's looking for plants, I'll probably help him out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do some foraging for vegetables and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I would say probably would I call for another hunting roll maybe?
you need hunting, Larry will take the lead on that if you need.
Yeah, I think hunting would probably be the best way to go about it.
And well, with my help, you can get
Nope.
2 extra dice. Remember?
Oh, okay. If you're helping,
Yeah.
then
So roll 2d6.
Well, did you get the ISR on? Because that's not going to change anything.
No, well, it's not an automatic failure; it just counts as 0. But you still got a 13 with your initial roll plus 3 would be a 16 would be a success.
This is Thrush's fault.
No. This you guys stepped on a berry bush. Totally not Thrush's fault.
All right, so you forage just around the outside of the cottage, maybe venture a little bit deeper into the forest for a little while, and you do come across quite the smorgasbord of different fruits and vegetables. You find a couple of berry bushes that somehow still have some berries in them. You find some wild onions, and you bring it back, and you all have quite the fixins for several very hearty meals.
Does Miragar find a singular apple to put in the boar's mouth?
Let's see.
Onions work just as well.
Actually, yeah, you rolled a 6.
Still
Sure, you found an apple.
Yeah.
The last apple off of the apple tree.
That's going to be a very, very fancy boar now. Well done, Miragar.
I mean, I had some help. I couldn't quite reach the apple.
Well, fair enough. Shed credit.
And-
We'll make sure that we leave them with a couple good meals and maybe dry some of that deer out or start that process for them.
Yes, most definitely.
And as you get back, you see that Auden has made her way outside of the house. She is she's still holding the baby, but she figured she'd walk outside and get some fresh air. And she sees you all hard at work. You bring back this game, and you bring back all the berries and wild onions and apple. And she says, "Wow, you all have really found quite the take." And then she looks over at what Thrush is doing, and like one hand meets her lips. What have you done?
It's a beast, nothing more.
This is a thing of ill omen. The tales say you're not supposed to. Go ahead and give me a probably a persuade roll real quick.
Can I use awe instead?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, no.
Jeez.
Your one die.
One die I had.
Really the only way to make that check.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like
okay.
listen, Gandalf led me to it.
There's
It can't be
ill
an
to
ill
befall
omen.
someone, it will fall on my shoulders, not yours.
She says, "Well, if you're sure, if you'll, please, you shouldn't leave all this here for us. You should dine with us at least one more night."
Of course.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to do while they're here?
Now, tonight, Thrush is going to sleep out under the stars if it's not raining, even if it's cold in his bedroll outside, away from everybody else.
All
In a
right.
very grumpy, foul mood. And he's just rolling over in his mind. Okay, am I being fooled? Was there something am I forgetting? Oh, and he's looking through his books and his maps and things and thinking, okay, this was possibly foolish, but we needed meat. Of course, yeah. And he's trying to justify it in his mind and probably has bad dreams all night about it.
Yes.
Instead of the normal bad dream people have been having, the deer just shows up as the thing that's trying to kill him in the dream coming from the mountain. And it's not just a normal deer, it's standing up on 2 legs.
God, I hope not.
All right. And as you all kind of get together one more time, you have a very hearty meal. Everyone is very satisfied and stuffed to the gills. That is where we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. and we will be right back. Greetings, tavern goers, and thank you all for watching this Tales from the Dragon's Tavern production. We wanted to take a few seconds to let you know that we have just launched our first paid tier for our Patreon page. If you like battle maps, regional maps, or anything in between, you can take part in our first tier as a tavern regular. For only $2 a month, you can take advantage of all of the maps made on stream during Saturday morning map making. Fear not, young tavern goer. The free tier is still available, and every episode will be posted there for your enjoyment as well. We here at the tavern appreciate your patronage, no matter what your tab is. Thank you once again. Now let's get back to our show. And we are back as our company has eaten their most hearty meal. They tucked themselves into bed, Thrush tucking himself into a bedding of grass. A tiny rain cloud perched over his head where only he gets wet, none of his surroundings.
The way it should be.
You
He
all...
doesn't realize it's just Larry with a watering can because he's got the fancy ring that makes himself. He's like, why is this damn cloud following me everywhere?
All right, so as you all kind of sink into sleep, blackness overtakes you. You all can take a prolonged rest if you need to restore any hope. You can definitely do that. And as you sleep, your vision kind of comes to you again, and you find yourself on a vast white plain, not a blade of grass, nor bird, nor animal to be seen. And you gaze around, you can see mountains to the east, to the west, and to the north. And as you look to the north, you can see what looks to be another mountain range, but just before it, you see a black spot. And you're being pulled towards it. You begin walking, your feet sinking deeply into the snow, almost up to your knees. You continue walking, and you feel as though you aren't making any progress, and yet this black spot rushes towards you until it becomes a great black heath, almost as though it had been caught aflame and is left in ashes. And from there, you see emerging shapes. And I would have each of you kind of just describe to me, what is it that your character fears the most that might be emerging from this hill?
For Thrush, it's obviously the weakness of men falling before what the shadow stands for. You know, failure, basically, and not standing up for what he's supposed to be doing.
And you see, as this hill approaches you, you see a host, an enemy host, making its way towards you. You look off to your right, and you see a host of men marching towards them. You see them do battle. You see catapults flinging stones. You see arrows blotting out the sun, and eventually the enemy host overtakes the host of men. And there, amongst a pile of bodies, you see a lone man with a crown and a scepter. He is kneeled before what looks to be possibly a leader, a commander of the enemy host. And as he kneels there, you see the leader drive a dagger into the chest of this lone man and withdraws it. And you see the man fall over dead. Who's next?
That will probably cause Thrush to wake up in a cold sweat and just look up at the stars and then just probably stay awake for most of the rest of the evening.
And Miragar, what is it that your character fears the most?
So, I think Miragar fears the most about being alone. And I think in a nightmare, how that would come to him as this black figure sort of coalesces into the fear itself, I think it turns into like a little hill, that tree, the sapling that he was, and then he sees the dream in his mind of getting a little hole in the Shire to plant the tree and all these things, and all of a sudden, flame overtakes it, and he's helpless as he watches it burn. It's kind of, if we're hearing anything, it's, screams of friends and stuff like that. And I think that, yeah, his biggest fear is being alone. And I think that would come about as, especially in a nightmare like this, would be everything burning in front of him.
And with that, you start awake as you realize that, thankfully, this was but a dream. Larry, how does this manifest in your mind?
I think Larry's greatest fear would be to fail to help those that he cares about most. So I imagine he's almost alone in like a dark ocean by himself. And everywhere, like drifting apart from him, are the people he cares about, his family, his company. And maybe he's able to run off and help one, but then he turns around and another needs help. And then he goes to help them, and then the one person he just helped, they're gone now. And it's just this endless cycle. And no matter what he does, he can't make a difference. And maybe it just ends and manifests in him just fighting off like dozens and dozens of enemies. But every time he kills one, more just come and separate him further and further from the people he's trying to help.
And finally, just as your subconscious comes to realization that all of your labors are fruitless, you start awake in a cold sweat. And Aranel, you can kind of see, as you kind of stand watch, perhaps just outside of the building, you see Thrush start awake, and you can begin to hear movement just inside the cottage as Miragar and Larry begin moving around. I need Thrush, Miragar, and Larry. I need all three of you to make me shadow test for valor.
Yeah. Well, who wants it? We only have one point left.
One of you guys can take it. Whoever has the most shadow, I think that might be our
It's Miragar.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
So if I use that, I'm inspired, right? As long as I use a hope point.
I think it
No.
makes it favored,
It
right?
makes it favored.
Favored.
Favorite,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Is this valor or wisdom? Sorry.
Valor.
Where's my?
Well,
Why is mine not
Granted, they're
rolling?
the same for me. So.
Oh.
I'm gonna try and click mine again to see if it rolls this time. So if a 2 come in, let me know. Hey, it rolled finally.
Just the one.
Okay, good.
Success. And success. Okay, so Thrush and Larry, you're able to kind of shrug this off as nothing but a device of the enemy, not letting it sink too deeply into your subconscious and affect you as a person. However, Miragar, this feeling of loneliness has enraptured you. You can't seem to shake the feeling that regardless of the company that you keep, you are in fact alone, as that is how you die, alone. You will take 1 point of shadow.
Okay.
Trait dice didn't, or those dice didn't help you. The skill dice, they were mean to you.
Yeah, they were pretty mean.
We did everything we could to try and help Miragar from himself.
All right. Now, you awaken. You reckon that you've probably got a few hours of night left, so you probably could get a little bit more sleep if you would like to wait until daylight.
Larry probably would, since he's overcome the dream.
Yeah, I think Thrush is trying to, internally, probably mentally punish himself for what he maybe subconsciously thinks was a stupid thing, but so he's trying to stay awake, but I think he's going to fail and probably fall asleep for a bit.
Okay. All right. And as you all kind of pass back out, soon enough, the morning comes. You see that Banyan cradles the baby as he kind of keeps his leg propped up as Aden begins preparing some sort of meal, a light one, mostly just the remnants of what was left over from the previous night, along with a few fresher things. Is there anything else that you all would like to do?
Probably just sit before we leave. We'll be like, oh, we're going to set off on our task. Is there anything you all need before we leave?
Oh, you all have been such a boon to us. I couldn't think to ask you for anything else. Just please, whenever you make your way back, do stop by.
Of course.
And with that, do you all go ahead and set out?
Yep.
All right. So, you remember from what Aden had told you that the Vale of Gold was about a 2 days march. So I would have the guide give me a travel roll just on the off chance that you fail.
It's
I
possible.
didn't like the way you worded that.
Remember, you got that map
Appreciate
die.
that.
Okay, success. I saw the 4 and the 3. I was like, oh. All right. But you travel for a couple of days, a day up the shore of Lake Evendim. And then eventually you come to a fresh trail that leads a little bit further west. Then along an old road that runs arrow straight towards the west, cleaving through the hills as if carved by a great sword stroke. You can tell that once it was wide and paved with great flagstones, probably a ceremonial road for the Sea Kings. Statues and monuments to vanished Numenor and heroes of old line the path, but now there is naught but shattered stone beneath the grass. And you can see, as you come along that straight old track, you begin to see smoke rising. Wisps of black wraith smoke that linger like ghosts hovering above a hilltop. And you can see just at the base of this hill, as you traverse further down the road, you see just around the base of this hill is gorse lining the hill and shrouding it in gold.
Okay.
Well, I think we found it.
Yes.
Do you think we wouldn't?
No. Just stating the
Honestly,
obvious,
I
I
thought we'd
suppose.
have probably been searching longer, especially if we didn't just find our friends.
Yes. I was expecting it to be a little less foreboding, although it is most certainly gold.
And as you traverse up this hill, you begin to see shapes of houses, buildings, outbuildings. But what lies in front of you is a scene of devastation and chaos. The buildings have been burnt down, and the corpses of a dozen dwarves lie scattered and dismembered along the hillside. You look around and you can see great black crows peck and tear at the dwarves' spilled guts, cawing and spitting as you all draw near. Notably, as you look around, you can see that all of the dwarves have had their right hands cut off, leaving only bloody stumps.
Does that mean anything?
You can. Does anybody have enemy lore?
Sure don't.
Nope.
Shadow lore, I
I
think.
have rhymes of lore.
Okay. I would accept if you've got shadow lore. I would accept a lore roll for that.
All right, and then having Shadow Lord, does that give us an extra point or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shadow Lord.
Success. Okay.
We need to give Miragar a hand.
Okay. You look around and you can see that there are several orc carcasses as well, left where they fell by their comrades. Although you look around and it looks as though they've been stripped of their useful gear. Upon looking at these orcs and kind of looking around at the missing right hands of all these dwarves, you see that there is a goblin brand, one that is familiar to you, Miragar. It seems as though these orcs came from the Ettenmoors, far to the east of the Vale of Gold. A tribe led by an orc named Holtmar, many-handed.
I'll look up after he's inspected one of these brands and be like, I've heard some tale of this brand before. It's an orc horde to the east. I think they may have, well, I guess I don't know exactly, but maybe they followed this group of dwarves from the east.
I suppose that would be a safe bet, seeing as how allegedly they were in Moria.
And as you look around, you can see that there is a multitude of orc footprints that have churned up the ground. You see dozens of orc arrows embedded in the ground and in dwarven corpses. You would guess that whatever host did this was one of great size.
Perhaps of similar size of the one we evaded?
Maybe, but we should definitely look for survivors.
Agreed.
And is there any way to tell how old this attack is by like wounds or anything like that?
Yeah, how recently this happened?
Yeah, if you want to examine some of the bodies to see how long they've been dead, I would take a healing roll.
There you spend a hope to assist Miragar.
So you get 2.
Uh-huh.
Gandalf!
Well, this wasn't needed, but
Well, you never know, but you know.
Okay. So,
medical examiner Miragar's on the case.
upon examining some of the bodies, you can tell that the blood has since kind of dried on the ground. All warmth has left them, but looking around the surroundings, you see that some are still smoldering. You'd guess that it was within the last couple of days that this happened.
How much do you want to bet this letter was a warning?
Maybe. Or maybe this is just, I don't know.
Was the letter sealed?
Yes, it has a wax. If you pull it out, you look at it, it's sealed in wax, and you can see the seal on it itself. Looks to be in dwarvish runes.
Yeah, so we probably couldn't read it anyway, so no point.
Well, looking to see if there's any idea where, given the combat and the chaos of the battle that happened here, if there's any indication of where any survivors may have fled to.
Larry's probably looking at the faces just to seem like, is Flonar or Jari amongst the dead?
Okay. Go ahead and give me a scan roll. Anybody who's looking for something.
Me.
Nope. And that's a Sauron.
I got an Eye of Sauron.
Hey! Another Gandalf.
Is that
That's-
2 Eyes of Sauron?
Unfortunately.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Ooh, doggy. Okay.
We've been racking them up.
I mean, yeah, it.
We got so many
Stands for reason.
Gandalfs last session. I mean,
We're still getting quite a few.
we are, so it's balancing out, I guess.
All right. So, Aranel, what are you looking for specifically?
Probably just signs of if there is life in the wreckage. Maybe somebody hid among the rubble or bushes or whatever.
Okay. You look around and you can tell that amongst the people here, you look around in the dwellings, and you can tell that these were kind of the beginnings of dwellings. A lot of almost like mud huts and piled stones. Some of them built over ancient cellars, which for buildings which used to be here. But you don't see any signs of life. At least not here. However, as you kind of make your way through the settlement, you come around what looks to be kind of like an old street. And near the rear, kind of following the trail of this multitude of different tracks, you see Flonar tied to a statue, an ancient statue. He is dead. If you examine him, you can see that it was clear that he was tortured before he died. His body bears many wounds and fresh brands, you guess, suggesting that he was tormented with heated weapons. You see his beard has been shorn, which those of you who know anything about dwarves know that that is a great insult. You see his eyes have been torn out and thrown to the crows. And you can see that to his side lies a notched axe. And you can see that there is a fresh wound, almost as if someone had tried to behead him, but his the dwarven bones within his neck stopped the axe and notched it.
Aranel's gonna rip open that letter.
And then
Yeah, I was about to say.
If only to just torture herself, knowing that she could have potentially prevented this if it was a warning.
Okay. So as you do this, that is a misdeed, so you will take 1 shadow for opening up a sealed letter.
That's fine. She was gonna take a shadow anyways.
Join the club. Curse club.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No,
That's
you're not
fine.
cursed.
You read over the letter. It is written in the common tongue.
Okay.
But as you read over it, you can see that it discusses Floki's efforts to quietly plead Flonar's case to the dwarven leaders, and asks Flonar for more money so that Floki may hire advocates, scribes, and lawyers. As it seems as though Flonar was exiled for entering Moria. There's nothing especially strange or suspicious about the letter or anything that you can read. But as you kind of look back, you can see that even in death, Flonar remains a mighty dwarf. He's exceptionally tall for his kind and battle strong. And you can definitely see the resemblance to Floki now, as you gaze upon him. I would have, let's see, I would have somebody give me, actually, Aranel, you're kind of busy with the letter. Somebody give me a scan roll real quick, if you would.
Okay. Very well attempt it.
I was so close to a Gandalf.
Okay.
Full success.
So, examining Flonar's body, you can see as he's kind of tied to this ancient statue, his hands kind of tied back around it. And you see other ropes kind of just haphazardly tied around his chest and legs. But you can see that there's something curious clasped around his neck, a chain of silvery metal. And hanging from the chain looks to be like a scrap of iron, suggesting that it was there was possibly an object that was hacked off of the chain.
Larry will take a closer look, and he's back of his mind, like, is this similar to that object we left with the elves? Like the same kind of metal, maybe?
You look at it, and it's clear that this is it is iron,
Okay.
but it doesn't seem as fell. There's not
Okay.
this
Okay.
there's not this feeling about it.
All right.
And upon kind of getting a closer look at this chain, you can tell that it is a bright metal.
Okay.
It's not silver. It is something different.
All right. Well, I don't know what, but it seems something was taken from this necklace or chain. I'm guessing it's what they were after. I
Well,
have
at
no
least
idea.
from this, it doesn't seem they knew.
What? Remind me if I'm wrong, but was it Flonar who said he had a key into Moria, or was that Loki?
That was Flonar.
Flonar.
Flonar and Shire, I believe, took it and brought it to Dale for him to use.
They had left it in the skirmish,
Yes.
so it's lost again.
As far as we know, at least. Is there anything else of note on his corpse?
You look around, and you can see that whatever was left on his body that might have been of use looks as though it's been taken. Any rings that he might have been wearing have been taken. This necklace obviously stands strong on his neck, but you can see that as you kind of look about, there are several orcs and goblins which are dead at his feet. It seems as though he fought to his last breath.
There's no signs of them having taken prisoners when they left that we can tell.
Give me a hunting roll.
Well, Thrush is examining. Larry's probably going to take what was clearly his axe, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of set it at his feet, like, a warrior should be with his weapon, if nothing else.
He needs a proper burial.
Yes.
I think they all do, but I don't know if we have the manpower or the time for that.
Yes. We'll at least deal with the one that we knew for the time being. And Larry's going to start trying to cut him down.
Alright. And as you do, you begin cutting him down, severing the ropes which bind him to this statue. Thrush, you kneel down and look at this multitude of tracks on the ground. It seems as though all of the grass that would have been here has been torn up as this multitude of orcs and dwarves did battle on this area. However, as you kind of examine them, you look and you can see it seems as though there are signs of people being dragged off to the east.
Just he's going to let out a little quick whistle and just point and say, some of them were taken.
All right. We'll deal with...
Okay, go ahead.
We'll deal with, this body, and then we'll make our way. Do you think it's worth checking the town itself to see if there's anyone there?
And I just think it's safe to say that they probably scoured it already.
All right.
And if it's been a few days, I don't know.
Fair.
Anybody wounded may have succumbed to their wounds by now.
That's a fair point. All right. Well, let's dig a hole for Flonar here and be on our way.
So you dig for a good little while. And as you're digging, I would have somebody give me an awareness roll really quickly.
I'll do it.
Aaron.
Unless, Aranel wants
All
Well,
Like a million.
Miragar is probably not useful in the digging.
Okay.
Yeah, she does have a billion.
Aranel's probably just like off to the side, sulking a little bit and watching.
She's probably climbed one of those statues. Like,
All right. And as you're as you're digging this hole, Aranel, something off in your periphery kind of piques your hearing. You listen in and you can hear it sounds like yapping in high-pitched voices.
She'll grab Miragar if he's not doing the digging and kind of nod over. I hear some yapping off that way. Perhaps you and I can check it out.
Yeah, of course. Can you make out if it's orc or dwarf?
It's high-pitched. I doubt it would be an orc. Maybe female dwarf? I don't know.
A rare sighting.
Very true.
Yeah, we can go check it out. He'll turn around to Thrush and Larry, and you hear the normal call, come running. I think we may have found survivors.
all right.
And as you kind of make your way off in that direction, you can see it looks as though there is a trail, almost as if a corpse had rolled down a hill. And you can see gathered around this dwarven corpse is a number of goblins.
Yeah.
And it seems as though they are fighting over this dwarf's belongings. But they don't seem to have noticed you. And you feel as though if you were to spring an attack, you may be able to catch them off guard.
Okay. So probably just throw me and Miragar in an open volley, and then
Miragar opens his pack and pulls out a firework and says, I told them to come running if we gave a side.
True.
Okay. As you stare down at these goblins, we're going to go into a quick opening volley with Aranel and Miragar. You see that a couple of them begin swiping and biting at each other over a ring.
Yeah, Miragar, instead of firing, because he's not really good, he is going to fire a firework into goblins. Maybe giving Aranel a bonus to battle.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a battle roll.
Okay.
All right, and you fire this this firework, and it whistles down and explodes right amid this large group of goblins. And you see that they scatter like cockroaches and begin looking upward at you. Aranel.
And I believe if I do a pierce, it should go on a 9, yeah? Beautiful. Okay.
All right, so he's going to make a protection test.
Oh, good.
All right, one is felled.
Beautiful. Thank you, Miragar.
Of course. And hopefully the other two heard that.
Oh, if they didn't, I would be quite shocked.
The other two of you, as you are in the middle of digging this grave, you hear this loud explosion from down the hill. It echoes up the valley and into your ears. You know that it's on.
Yeah.
Sound like
Larry does not even think. He just drops the shovel, grabs his weapon, and full-on sprint.
All right, very good. So we will begin combat.
So we're giving up on the grave. I was kidding.
It is round one. Go ahead and arrange yourselves and put yourselves in whatever stances you need.
Are Thrush and I even here yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the question is, I'm guessing that was the initial volley, and now we will be in whatever stance we put ourselves in for the fight, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep. And the goblins didn't even have time to react. You see that some of them draw daggers, some of them knock arrows, and are prepared to fire upon you. All
Okay,
right.
Going into open, because then he'll be able to do the Enhearten rally as a secondary.
And I think Miragar, every now and again, is angry or mad, or emotions overcome him, and he, skillet in one hand, axe in the other, charges down this hill.
First up in combat, Aranel, it is your turn.
For once.
Right.
This is the first time you've gone first in combat ever.
Yeah, it really is. Except for opening volley.
Doesn't that feel amazing?
No, not really.
No, I don't enjoy this, in fact.
Only for that, so...
Oh, no, hold the wooden end.
Axe through. Hey, look at that. I can't
Nice.
get a pierce though, so... Heavy blow it is.
That's a lot of damage.
That's better
for
than
that.
All right. And immediately you sink your axe into this goblin's head. It squeaks as it falls down to the ground and you withdraw.
Like Aranel might be slightly disgusted, like, I'm never this close to them when they die.
There's so much blood.
All right. Miragar, it is your turn.
All right. X. Does it automatically give me the extra die when I'm in?
It does.
Yes.
Okay. And because I can, and you know what? No.
All right, you swing your axe out at this goblin, and it ducks nimbly to the side as it kind of prances about with a dagger, kind of testing you, teasing you, testing out its range. All right, Thrush.
All right, he's going to attempt his secondary action of being heartened to see if we get some extra dice here. All right, we're going to get a die
For anyone in forward
for
stance.
anyone in forward stance next round, but everybody's inspired on every roll they make next round.
Very good. All
All right,
right.
he's going to do his attack then.
Oh, I forgot that's a secondary action. That's awesome.
Yeah, with that,
For him,
it's a secondary
yes.
action. So smack. Let's see. We don't have to hit any points, so we'll just smack, and we'll do a heavy blow to this dork.
All right, that is 11 points of damage, and boop, he is gone. Here, I am going to, shoot. So it broke, your inspiration roll had broke my computer, so I need to refresh, which means I need to log out, then log back in. All right, so Thrush, that was your turn. Make sure I record. Okay. That was your turn. Larry.
Right. Larry's also going to do the enhearten thing to see if he can give people in other stances that bonus.
Okay.
And with a success die, that means that everyone in open stance will also get a bonus die next round.
Very nice. All right. So, first one up is this goblin who is going to use its jagged knife to attack Miragar. Now, you do have higher ground, and it loses an additional success die since you had ambushed it. So it's not looking good for it.
The Miragar is in forward stance.
All right. Yeah, it swipes out at you, and you bat the dagger aside with your skillet. Let's see. Next up is this goblin who is going to loose an arrow at Thrush. Let's see. He's going to be down about here. To no avail. You see that as it tries to loose an arrow blindly towards you, it's unable to find purchase as the arrow sails wide over the top of the hill. All right. Next up
And
is
past Aranel.
this goblin, who is once again engaged with Miragar.
Also tough.
No good.
Suck.
All right. Next up is this one here.
Well, apparently, high ground and surprising is not very good for them.
All right, he's gonna loose an arrow at Aranel.
Rude.
Missing 2 bonus die, 2 success die, but it does.
Oh,
With a lucky shot, you see it kind of prances around on 2 feet and just kind of haphazardly draws an arrow and kind of holds the bow to its like sideways and looses the arrow.
I
But
didn't
you
even
are
need to spend the
protected.
hope, but
yeah,
it
Garrett
spent it anyway.
Campbell.
All right, but you do take 3 damage or 3 endurance loss as you kind of duck underneath. You see this arrow coming a mile away.
Yep.
All right, this one here is going to attack Thrush, losing 2 dice. Oh,
Ooh.
and a automatic failure.
Trip.
0, the lowest he could possibly do.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, he falls on his own knife, right?
Yeah, totally. All right, this one's going to loose an
This
arrow at Miragar. And fails. You hear the soft ding off of your skillet as an arrow makes contact. Next up is this one, who is going to, let's see, he's going to loose an arrow at Larry. Minus 2 dice. And to no avail. You can see that all of these arrows are just making their way around this hill and not finding purchase. You hear the as they sink into the dirt around you.
I need arrows for Aranel to take after we're done.
All right, let's see.
Those filthy things.
Horn,
Well,
loses
if they're
2.
poisoned, I can use them against an enemy.
All right. So that is not enough. As you hear yet another arrow whiz past you. Or no, that was a. Oh wait, no, I think that was the wrong attack. Anyway, he strikes out at you with a dagger
Yeah.
and misses.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, this goblin is going to try to sink its dagger into your neck, Larry. Loses 2 dice.
For a next shot.
Oh! All right. I need you to make me a protection roll, Larry.
Yeah.
Ouch. Protected.
Protected.
Yay.
All right. So as this thing lashes out at you with its dagger, you see it's holding it underhanded and tries to bring it down on your neck. You back up just enough to where it catches on your shield, and you give it a swift kick to get it to back up. All right, and back to the top of the order. You all can switch your stances if you'd like. I think we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they still more than doubly outnumber you.
Soon I will be in rearward stance again.
Very
Just
soon.
don't want to move because I'm just going to take this guy out anyways.
If Miragar, with all the dice he's about to get for his next roll, doesn't hit anybody, he'll go back to defensive.
That's fair.
Alright, so
is fair.
Axe, I have a bonus die from Thrush for being in forward stance with his awe roll or whatever.
And Harden.
Um,
And me as well, but you can only have one of them. But
just for shits and giggles, she'll do the inspiration, because why not? And
Easily enough.
Pierce. Oh, wait, no. Ah, shoot.
Did you mean to do a heavy blow or something?
Yeah, I was gonna do a heavy blow. I forgot I can't pierce with an axe. I think it was 11. Back up.
I mean, you can pierce with an axe, it just doesn't add as much as
Yeah, it's like a +1 to pierce or something.
instead of a +2.
Yeah, it
it's
would have been
more
11
+3 for
to-
a spear.
11 damage?
Yep. Because that's what I had last time.
Okay. And luckily, that is... Let's see. Yep, that's more than enough.
Meh.
Can I go back to my bow yet?
All right, and with that, Aranel, you're able to create enough space to where you feel as though you can probably safely draw your bow. All right, Thrush, it is your turn.
Praise Jesus.
And
All right, 5 damage. Let's see.
Not a fantastic roll, but a good roll.
All right, you see this goblin lashes out at you with its dagger, and you swiftly give it a quick punch with the hilt of your sword. And Miragar, moment of truth.
All right. Grab my axe. Got them there. Go ahead and spend that hope die. Go ahead and be inspired.
I forgot to do the hope die. Oops.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary success with
Gotta
an
freaking
Eye
hide
of Sauron.
God damn it.
Oh, I also forgot to add the extra die for the other thing, so I would have had 3 more dice roll on that.
And I do heavy blow, also dealing 11 damage, which I believe
is lethal.
Yeah. As you kind of lash out, this feeling, this need for vengeance takes over you, and you see nothing but red as you lash out and sink your axe deeply into this goblin's neck where it kind of gurgles. And you withdraw it, and it slumps over to the ground.
And he looks at the other one and just waves his skillet.
All right, Larry.
Alrighty, I am in open, but I do have a bonus die because that's last round.
That is nice.
Yeah, that is very nice.
Very good.
Nice.
I still can't believe I forgot to use all those extra dice. Since I was the one who gave them to us.
It really doesn't matter, but I just want to see if he makes a protection roll.
Nope.
Nope. All right, Larry,
On adjacent.
you impale this goblin with Estelang, and you lift him up off of the ground to where he begins to slide down the spear. You slam it down on the ground and withdraw your spear, and he rides near lifeless.
Is that the one that stabbed me?
I think so.
All right, good.
All right, and it
Just
is...
points the spear at the next one, like, come on, let's get this over with.
You saw that display. Larry, I'm going to need you to make me a battle roll as this archer tries to gain position on you.
All right. Unfortunately, he's going to succeed.
All right, and you see some of these goblins begin to wise up a little bit. They begin to make their way around the bottom side of the hill and up and try to make their way around to try to get a vantage point on you. And you see this one does... let's see. And he's going to use his bow of horn. Boop. And that is a pierce, my friend. You are going to take 3 damage minimum, but I need a protection roll from you.
Yep.
Come on, Larry.
You're wounded.
Look at all.
Oh,
I know. Yep.
Oh, no. All right, so, Larry, go ahead and make your injury roll.
Yep.
Sad panda.
9 days. So
Yeah.
you take 3 points of damage. You are wounded, and you are hereby poisoned.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
All right.
Larry just has to get poisoned.
It's not an adventure for me if I don't get poisoned. I like to point out, though, that what does it take to hit me and I have Sauron?
It really does. Yeah, that's the only way he can go about doing it. All right. Miragar, I need you to make me a battle roll as this one looks around at its comrades and tries to shimmy around to try and get a good spot on you. And unfortunately, it does. It is going to... oop,
Oh, no!
You went invisible.
Oh, no!
Use
It is
the
going
ring.
to try
Use the
to
ring.
sink its dagger into you.
It's Gollum.
And to no avail, you just immediately give it a quick shove back off of your skillet there. All right. This one is going to make its way up. Let's see. Larry, if you give me another battle roll, please.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately not. Let's see. So it is going to use its knife on you. Gets a bonus die.
No, I saw it, thankfully.
Oh, and as it does, it makes its way around you, but you swiftly regain your defense and kind of cover yourself behind your shield.
Can't wait to find out that the circlet I have now cures me of poison.
All right. So this one here is going to target Thrush. Thrush, if you would please make me a battle roll.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead and roll me another 2ds if you would.
Hmm.
Just because. Something about the current situation. It seems as though you're garnering knowledge from somewhere. You can almost sense its movements, and as you kind of think back, the one thing that comes to your mind is the staff, which you now carry.
Cool.
So from here on, you have a blessing of battle.
Nice.
Now, it attempts to sink its dagger into you, and unfortunately, it does not gain another die. In fact, it loses one. And you are able to maintain your defenses as this thing tries to sink its knife into you to no avail. All right. Aranel, if you'd give me a battle roll, please.
But I don't wanna.
You gotta.
Where the heck is it? There it is.
Oh, that's one of those skills I never use.
This is one of my bad skills.
Where is Gandalf? For I have
No.
much desire to speak with him. It darts up the hill and kind of behind one of the burnt out buildings and leans out and looses an arrow in your direction. And it gains another die. All right, it is not going to get a pierce, but it is going to get a couple of heavy blows. So you will take 9 points of endurance damage.
At least you're not poisoned.
As this arrow, you get ready to draw another arrow from your quiver, and as you do, an arrow sails across your wrist, giving you feels like a paper cut. It sucks.
Ouch.
All right, and then finally, this one here is going to target Miragar. Now, Miragar, if you'd give me yet another battle roll, please. All right, and it does gain the advantage on you. You are in forward stance. It gains yet another success die. No pierce, but you do take 3 points of endurance damage. As you feel just the slightest cut whiz across your neck. All right, and back to the top of the order, Aranel.
No, she's at the back.
All right, is anybody else changing stances?
Let's fuck this.
Larry, do you want to go in defensive or are you going to stay in open?
I'll stay in open.
All right, so Thrush, it is your turn.
What determines whether or not I get hit is whether or not he gets a knife, so I'll run.
Nice.
That's enough damage, but I like seeing you wounded, and he is in fact wounded.
Nice.
All right, Thrush, you effectively behead this goblin as it leaps forward at you.
Head goes rolling down the hill to his archer friends.
Yep.
All right, Miragar.
All right. And all those bonuses were for just that round, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Roll normally. The heavy
Enough.
blow. 8
Nice.
damage.
All right, and yet again, maybe I like to imagine you miss with your axe and immediately come from the side with your skillet and bash it upside the head, caving the side of its head in.
And he goes tumbling down the hill. Yeah.
And you hear it gurgles, almost as if it bit off its tongue. You see its tongue flying through the air.
Nasty.
All right, Larry.
Nice.
All right. 10 points of damage. All right. Yet again, you embed this goblin with your spear, sinking it straight through its neck. It gurgles a little bit as you withdraw. It slumps to the ground.
Larry's probably pointing his spear towards one of the archers, like, God damn it, you people keep poisoning me.
All right, Aranel.
I feel like I should be immune of the poison at this rate. Jeez.
Right.
Great success. On a bow. Do I still have high ground?
At this point, yes.
Beautiful.
Compared to the ones all the way down there, probably, yeah.
All right.
Only 4 damage.
4 damage. Okay.
Oh well.
I mean,
All
it's
right.
Badly injured.
And so, with that, after you had slain all of their friends, these 3 that are left are going to turn tail and run.
I don't want them getting reinforcements.
Do we get like an ending volley as well? You know?
You know what? Yeah, if you'd like to try to chase after them or try to shoot at them one more time, you're more than welcome to. But at this point, they are only focused on getting away. So I would say as you loose arrows at them, you would lose success die as they are moving targets.
Okay.
I'm gonna put
Can I
myself
still use
in
my
real
scan?
word just
Yeah.
for
Beautiful.
who's die.
Yeah, your elvish eyes look at where they are and where they're going.
What?
Oh no.
Gandalf with a success die, even all disadvantaged. Let's go.
Arrows.
All right, so let's do these one by one, shall we?
Go for it.
Protection. I think that he's probably going to die. He's out of combat.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one is protection roll.
Yep.
Wounded.
Goodbye.
And protection roll. Wounded. And as all 3 of these goblins
No surprise.
flee the battlefield, hoping to find some sort of safety back with their host that they so foolishly let get on ahead of them, they meet their end with arrows in their backs, and they fall face first into the gorse bush. And I think that is a good place to leave off this session for the evening.